Welcome back to the business side of our journey to become Chateau du Cavignac, which aims to become the finest producer of Bordeaux wines made in Lagos, Nigeria, which doesn't make sense because it's a scam. Now, in our journey, we began producing supermarkets, a very basic profit to get us off the ground. Then we went straight into producing wines, which is quite a surprise. We have the ingredients available at seaports, terrible quality, we don't have the tech, but that's okay. I think it's worth a shot, right? So we're producing wines already, but we want to evolve and become a finer producer of wines. But until then, we have a couple of steps to take. So what are the couple of steps to take? I don't know. Maybe our financials have a little bit of guidance. So looking at episode number 1, we had a period of 1.2 years producing our first 2 supermarkets, an annualized revenue of 24 million and a net profit margin of 22.4%. Pretty good, if you ask me. Our next episode, however, we began our wine production. We went through 5.4 years, annualized revenue, which only increased by 6.2%, not very great, and our net profit margin went from 22.4 to 5.8%, a dramatic drop. This comes from a couple of reasons. We had a little bit more of interest paid on our debt, of course. We also had, actually, our G&A was actually stable at 7%. But of course, we lost 7% at gross margins. This is okay. We're starting a new product. We're still not calibrated. I think we're still in the ballpark. 3% is actually pretty good, but selling expenses is the main offender. So when we look at what this is comprised of, we have salaries increasing a little bit. That makes sense. We're starting new businesses. They're still not matured yet. So it's a little bit more inefficient. We have training, which begins to grow. I think this will actually grow a little bit more this episode. But advertising is our main offender with 7.3 percentage points of our margin going down the drain to build up that brand. We have to build up that brand because our quality is still terrible. I could make this up with a little bit of R&D. We're still spending zero, but this is a hugely expensive game to play. I think we're not ready for it. I do want to do it, but it's not quite yet. So with that said, we can go back into our game and look at a couple of other elements that will help us decide what we want to do. So we're producing our wines. We have a little bit more capacity, I believe. It says we do. We have more supply than demand. Demand is growing. And when we look at it, our manufacturing units, they're at 94% capacity, 100 and 100. Sales, they still have inventory. They seem to be working suboptimally. But I think it may be worth investing in training right now. I think it's worth it. Now our grapes are coming from right here, and the reason why we're producing in Lagos, even though we're not selling in Lagos, our stores are actually in Rio, right here, our 2 stores. The reason why is because Lagos has the cheapest real wage at an index of 36. Very low, very well worth it. And the grapes are next door, so why not? Now, Lagos has a huge market. I could have sold there, but Rio, combining with that real wage, it actually produces a more interesting market than Lagos. One way to check that out is if you come into products, beverage, look at wines. It's an 11 million total market. Lagos with 2, Rio was at 5. Now it's more like 2.5. I think the economy is hitting it a bit. We have expansion of the economy, which is interesting. Helsinki is another interesting market with 4 million. But when you look at cities, look at Rio, we have a little bit of unemployment. Maybe this has something to do with it. GDP growth, maybe. Maybe the other companies are not that interested in Rio. That could be a part of it. Now, having said that, one route would be perhaps to produce, well, stores in Lagos to sell this wine. Why not? Why not? Get it? We're right here, right? We won't pay freight to ship it overseas. But I have to mention this, that the larger your population, the more you spend with advertising. And this is a huge population, 3.5 million. We're already paying our advertising in Rio for 4.4 million. Huge amount. So when we look at our 2 markets, we have one in the profits, one in the losses. The losses is because we're spending 202,000 per month on wine advertising at the radio. Now this store is paying the cost for the brand in the whole city. So we have a brand 47 with a quality of 28. we're making up for it. And the local competitors have a brand of actually 40. 41 is the average, but the local competitors have 40. Check it out. So we have to invest in this. And this store is paying the price. It's in the negatives right here, but this allows this store to be in the positives. So there's a concept here that if we have more stores selling in Rio, we can actually dilute that expense in advertising. So that comes to the next point. So should I build another store? We don't have that much money. We have only 13 million, 4.7 in profits. But there's another route to be had here. And I think it comes with a little bit more urgency. So when we talk about Legos, we have grapes coming in, quality of 38. If we look at Rio, we have glass coming in at a quality of 40. But if we look at Helsinki, we have another ingredient here coming in. It's this citric acid at a quality of 47. Now, it hasn't had any sales in the past 36 months, which means it's at risk of being cut out and swapped for another product. And if that happens, we won't be able to produce our grape juice. Grape juice requires these three ingredients, which are actually grapes and wine, just like grapes and glass, just like wine. But it also requires citric acid. So that is another route we can take, and I think that is the route we will take because it's more urgent. I don't want that seaport to stop providing citric acid. Otherwise, I'll have to produce lemons and citric acid, which is a farm, an industry, maybe even a lab to produce the tech. That sounds expensive. Now, talking about quality of the product, it's good to keep in mind what the differences are between wine and grape juice. So 50% of the quality comes from tech in wine, and 50%, or actually 45 from grapes and 5 from glass. When you go to grape juice, the only change is that those 45 from grapes fall to 35, transferring 10 to citric acid, maintaining 50% in technology. So grapes is another product that will require advertising if we ever decide to sell it, wherever we decide to sell it, which means that most likely we will have to come into our store, substitute one of these products here that come from the seaport for grape juice, our grape juice, and advertise and spend another 200,000. But I think it's worth it because when you think about the profits from wine, we actually have a number 2 profit in terms of products in the store coming from wine. Number 1 is detergent, and these things are dynamic because they're dependent on the seaports, which is another reason why I don't want to depend on seaports, which is another reason why I want to produce another product like grape juice. And most likely I'll replace body lotion, but like it's number 2. Look at the other store, which actually has 2 units selling wines. It's producing double the profit, 150,000. And it's also number 2. So more the reason to produce grape juice. So I think that's the next step to go. Now we're talking 15 million. I don't know if that will be enough or not. We will find out. As for the factory style, I believe it's another one of these containers, dirty containers. So why not produce it right here? And we have a 3-input layout. I do not know if I have one here. I do not. So let's start with the 3 products, which is basically purchasing, purchasing, sales and sales. I will need to purchase grapes. All cities, glass, citric, and let's start this production because we want grape juice. Let's see. Not caps lock, please. Cavignac. Well, not something like that. So yeah, let's hope these guys get a little bit more training going on. Meanwhile, we have our grape juice coming in. I would like this to be sold at a lower price, get some other people purchasing it, hopefully. And then when we come to Rio, we can start bringing in our products. Let's see this body lotion. This is the one I want to replace. Let's link all cities. This grape juice. Let that trickle in a bit. And come on to other store. Replace our body lotion with our grape juice. So as soon as those stocks zero out, we will sell our grape juice. We are with a terrible proposal for our customers, a 14 overall rating, which is 60 for the local competitors. We have on par quality, but the brand, all the difference is in the brand and the price. They're selling for 113. So we had to adequate our prices accordingly. So let's come about. Where's our price? Right here. We can actually not sell for as cheap as they do. Let's see why. We are selling for 75 cents. I think I'll actually decrease this. Go to Rio. We are going to have to pay quite a bit for freight. So 62 cents for freight. That's the reason why. So let's try to decrease this. I'm going to put it pretty tight because I do know that I decreased price at the industry. That's 129, equally split among both of our stores. And we have someone selling our juice at Legos, which is good. It'll give us some scale. But I will not invest in branding, my friend. You're going to have to do that yourself if you want to, at least for now. So we took a hit in our profitability. We're still at 5 million. That's pretty good. And maybe, well, I don't think I have enough money. If I look at the F11, we can take 9 million in loans. Let's see how this profit evolves over time. Okay, that's okay. And we have grape juice, so I can start advertising, start to build that brand. That's going to take a hit in our profitability. Keep an eye on there. Let's see if our brand starts to increase, at least mildly. So far, nothing. Oh, there we go. Take that. We have 1 from brand. Quite the evolution there. Our cost still hasn't gone down, of course. Our inventories are still pretty full. But we are still making some sort of profit, which is actually a good sign. Which means that maybe I should take this loan and create our 3rd store in Rio to try to dilute those advertising costs. They are starting to be very hefty. Okay, so this store is actually not selling anything. Wow, it's actually surprising. That was our first store here, also not selling anything at all. So I'm going to have to take the loss. There we go. Taking a loss, but it's making a profit back on the factory. We have Cavmart Rio North, Cavmart Rio East. I think it's time for us to produce Cavmart Rio West or South. There's still not much clarity in terms of where the store will be more profitable. Instead of actually building a supermarket from scratch, I'm actually going to duplicate this guy. We do know that grape juice is not selling that much, so I'll leave the wines prioritized. I'll duplicate the firm. And let's try to decide where. So we have 21, 24. Ooh, I have another 27s, 36s. So maybe it's over here. 21. Probably actually over that store. Not that easy. Take a look over here. I have a store over there for sale. You can compete with that supermarket. I'm not sure that's the best way to go. Ooh, 21 out of 33 for 8 million. Sounds pretty neat. I'll take it. So we are talking about Cavmart Rio. What is this? East, center, west? I think it's east. There we go. One more store. Try to dilute those costs. Try to make a little bit of profit. How's our brand going? 4, 45 versus 58. Okay, getting somewhere, I think. But the most important thing is that Helsinki seaport is starting to sell citric acid. Thank goodness. Okay, so next steps. In terms of demand, we're selling to Power Company. That's very good, very kind of them. It's keeping the company less worse than it should be, at least for this level of demand. Still have some picking up to do in terms of overall brand. Manufacturing here is actually at level 3 already. That's very good. Sales at level 2. That's important to maintain that performance. Profitability is actually going up because of that. So I think training has to continue here in the store. Ooh, one more step. Sales at level 3. I like that. Going back to Rio, speaking of our stores, there we go. We're in the profits already, even with one negative product here. Very good sign. As for the quality, we're still lagging behind, but 49 versus 57. It's getting there. 11 to brand. I like that. Keep on going. Perhaps we can actually decrease a little bit of our loss. I'm going to do that. Got to keep an eye on, however, on these other products. The detergent, very possible they might squeeze me in terms of profitability. Look at that right there. Seaports, man, you got to keep an eye on them. All of them are equal. A little bit below now. Sales are going to go down. We're going to take a hit in profitability, 3 million, but cash is at least going up a bit. So yeah, so there you go. That's the contribution of our price adjustment. Cost is slightly going down. Brand is slightly going up. We're at 19. Pretty good. 52 overall rating. 53. Okay. I think I can start squeezing these guys a little bit more. Going to the profit of 1 cent per unit, huh? Wouldn't you love it? Look at that. It's going into the positives. 1 cent per bottle of grape juice. Gotta get there somehow, huh? As for our industry, our grape juice factory, it's getting less worse. And demand is, of course, overflowing. But our industry here in wines, that's pretty good, huh? We're selling to Power Company as well. Power Company. Quite the partner, huh? We've got to keep up that production. Sales are actually relieved. Production is still stressed out. Still unclear how this will be. I think we're actually at the limit here. We've got to keep that training going on. We may have to double the production. Keep an eye on the cost of inputs. Rio, how is Rio going? Glass, still fine. And finally, citric acid. Look at that, pretty good. Lots of people buying. That'll be stable. So I like that as well. So I think Lagos is a good candidate for having stores next, but that we'll try some advertising. Profits are going down. Okay, so what's going on here? So our drugs, they're at limited profit. Detergents are the criminals. So we are actually leaders in Rio. We've got Power Company selling as well. So I do want to one day get rid of that, but I simply cannot do that as of yet. Got strawberries coming in. Okay, that's an innovation. What do we got here? Got timber, cotton, got canned soup, chicken, and Legos. There's some products to produce at the supermarket here. It's not that bad. And we have steel, oil, and oil. Nothing very door opening for us. So maybe I'll have to squeeze people a little bit more in terms of cost of wine. Grape juice, we said the power company, right? You have a markup of 72%. I think I'm going to squeeze them a bit more as well. You have definitely excess capacity. Maybe it should have been a little bit slower in terms of expanding that capacity there. But we had to start that phase that we began micromanaging things. So we did increase price of detergent back to the profits. Did curtail demand of the drugs. Demand is going down. I think we've reached a good balancing point. Now let's take a look at training of our supermarkets. So this one is maxed out. Have lots of good training levels. 7. Got 3 here for grape juice. New product, right? I think we can dial this back a bit. How are we doing in profits? Of course, we're losing money here, but we are with a 51.36 brand rate. That's good. I need that. As for you, also the same, level 9, level 8. I'll curtail you as well, try to increase our profitability. We're in that phase that we have to worry about that. Back to 2.9 million in the last 12 months. It's a good sign. But you still have a little bit more to go. I'll let you ring in for a little while. So yeah, I think we're in a good phase here. Good step up towards production, not profitability, but I think it is an important step. So when you think about our corporate progress, think about our firm overview, our financial overview, business relations, whereas for the power company, very good relations with them, very happy about that. As for corporate details, take a look at our products. Wine is the main engine for our profitability. The margin of 40%, not that bad. Grape juice is still getting there, almost negative profits. That's okay. Headache pills and detergent, they're the negatives. You know, those seaport prices have got to get rid of the seaports. That's urgent. So the firms, retail stores are actually losing, but we're making it up for it at our factories. Our graphs, revenues just straight going up forward. Expenses as well. Profits, they're progressing. Net profits as well, pressured from the debt expenses from loans. Net worth is going up, that's good. As for graphs number 2, this is also important. The company is growing in size, so cash and land resources, inventory, they're all going up. Business assets, normal. Total debt increased a little bit, that's fine. Got to get the machine oiled up. Advertising as well. We started selling our second product, so doubled up, makes sense. Training is up, salary expenses is up. That's fine and dandy. As for our balance sheet, this is it. Nothing much to see here. As for our income statement, I think this is also not much to see. I'll always like to look at the last year, the last 12 months, a little bit fairer. Interest rates went way up, so that's 2 million. That's okay, our debt went up. As for technology, take a look at what we have in production. This is decaying. We lost another 4 points just because our technology decays, so we may have to be prioritizing R&D actually. I don't know. Will we do R&D or will we do Legos retail? Advertising is at the same level for both products, but it's going up. We actually reached 79 with wines. That's interesting. There may be an opportunity to optimize prices here with wine, and if grape juice reaches this level, thank goodness, maybe we won't be as pressured with R&D. So the brands are here. Dominance, got retail at 5th, manufacturing at 6th, but beverages, we're number 1. Good. And these are staying with the rankings. So I think we had a good progress. As for, just take a look at Legos. Yeah, those real wages are going up. Unemployment in Rio is going down. Maybe that'll improve sales of wines. We'll see. Helsinki is one market that I'm really flirting with because, like we said earlier, beverages Actually, both markets actually equalize. That's interesting. But Lagos, 2 million markets. Helsinki, 4 for wines. 3 for grape juice. Rio, large in grape juice. Okay, so we have Helsinki is not a priority, although it is cheaper in terms of branding. But I think Lagos is a short-term opportunity. We can cut costs by not having to pay freights. We have some optimization perhaps with prices. Look at that market share. Definitely we can play with prices. So looking forward to the next episode. See you then.